The new role, how would you define it?
Well, first team coach primarily, but we've been really, on top of that, we've been really pleased with the work going on in the academy, and I'll still be able to make key decisions in there, and key appointments and things like that, and really just check the academy's aligned with the first team. If we're in a bit of a development model, then we need to get those foundations right. But my day today as a first team coach, yeah, for sure.
Is it a case where ultimately, as this plan develops, all age groups will play in a way that you want the first team to play?
Not necessarily, no. I don't think that works right through the younger ages. Maybe towards the 23s need to start mirroring it, because that's the next step, if you like. But I think coming through, defenders need to learn how to play in a back three and in a back four, because we might change, for instance. So I think it's principles, not patterns, for me in coming through the academy, and it's teaching people how to play the game rather than a specific formation.
Yeah. And what are the principles you want to oversee then?
Well, to begin with, you've got to deliver a team that represents the city, really, and that is hard working. There's an honesty with that. There's a competitiveness with that. There's grit with that, and the strapline was out, run out, fight out, play, and it's not far off it. There's got to be a real intensity to your training, so that you can see that on the pitch. There's got to be a real competitive spirit, so you can see that on the pitch, and you can't be a top sportsman without being competitive, and then you need to be able to play, and that bit's really important, and the coaching side of that, and teaching the game and being set up really well is important. But if you're not running and you're not competitive, being set up right doesn't win anything.
Do you feel kind of acutely aware of that? You're a Sheffield lad, you've been here, you played here.
I played here. If you're not at it, you get told, and rightly so. It's not the same at every club. Certain clubs demand different things. It was slightly different at Forest when you played there. Whereas at Sheffield United, there needs to be a competitive edge, because that's what we're about. That's what the city is about. It's a real honest city. I moved back here from Nottingham for that, and that's got to be seen on the pitch.
And as part of your day to day, do you focus on the strikers?
It's wider than that. Yeah, I've coached the team today, but then do definitely go into detail with the strikers. So, for instance, coming out of the academy, and what I set up was ex-defenders, ex-strikers, ex-midfielders, really going on to the detail of that game. When I played, my first manager was Alan Buckley, a centre-forward. Without him, because I was pretty much out of the park, probably wouldn't have got the game well enough to make it. Richard O'Kelly was my youth team manager. Clive Mendonca was the experienced pro, and without these people around me early on, probably wouldn't have known the game well enough to have a career. So when you look about teaching the game, that's why I brought these appointments into the academy, because they tended to be the people that had the biggest influence on me starting out and teaching me the game. I still picked up stuff in my 30s, and there was still little bits of detail, a little bit of gold dust here, and I think that's good. That's really good. That's going to improve me, and I don't think you ever stop learning. And just at some point, your legs go, and if your brain at the end's at its best, and you're seeing things, but you just don't get there anymore. So, going back to that, it's the coaching side and teaching those little bits of detail, and is really important, I think.
Your role within the club, and Rhian Brewster, because for all the money and everything, he's still a young kid making his way in senior men's football. How much do you focus on him, not just in terms of learning the game, but also the psychological aspects of it too as well?
Yeah, for sure. He's 21,
yeah.
Big money move, bit of pressure, but done it at this level already. Worked with him a little bit already, and the way he strikes the ball is lovely. He definitely can finish, and it'll just be helping him with coming into the box a little more unnoticed, and little bits around his movement and things like that, because his finishing element is actually very good. Just need to help him to get more chances, if you like. But the psychological part of being a striker is so important. Yeah, you can't mind when you miss a chance, and you are going to be bad spells. And listen, when I went through bad spells, you can't say, "Oh, don't worry about it," because you do, But it's just building that mindset to go again and get your next chance. The next best thing for a centre forward than scoring goals is missing a chance, because you're almost there. I think when you struggle psychologically, you stop getting in the areas where you might miss, and that can't happen if you're going to be a top centre forward.
And part of the reason I asked this, and obviously not the first time we've had a chat down the years, your academic studies, it's taken you into that field, isn't it? So when you are, part of your responsibility is player development, that becomes important, doesn't it?
The psychological side is massive. When I first got into coaching, I text everybody who played and been involved in football on my phone. Think of a team you played for that was successful. Which player do you think had the biggest influence on that? And what was it about, and what was his qualities? And everything that came back was psychological. And you look back, and those characters, those characteristics are vital for first team sport and winning. I watched The Last Dance recently on Netflix, and just the competitiveness of Michael Jordan was, you're going, and you look at Tiger Woods and these others, and the real top performers. There's a real element of competitiveness, so you must produce that, on the training ground. You must allow that and set things up to bring that out, because ultimately, if the team becomes really competitive, you give yourself a good chance of winning.
What's the state of play in terms of the health of that academy? Because now, as we've heard from the ownership, there is a real willingness to develop that youth in terms of first team football. There's obviously a demand for the first team to still be successful. Is there I'm going to use the word crop, but even maybe one or two that this season, maybe as early as that, can make it in that first team to keep it where it wants to be?
Yeah, really proud of it, honestly. The work going in there has been fantastic, and because of that, we've got some very good players coming through, and it's an exciting time to be in the academy, because this is the direction the club's taking and developing players, and that isn't just 17 and 18-year-olds. We've got some, like you said, Rian Brewster, 21. We've got some top young players, and who still need development and help. I think I was lucky to, like I said, to have Alan for the first 5 years of my career. Every day I was learning in my 22, 23. You still, so you never stop learning. So the academy's in a great place. Obviously, we're looking to progress it in areas, but if you've seen it working every day and how hard they work, and the detail of the coaching going in, and the quality of staff, it's in a fantastic place.
You won't get held to this, I suppose, but fans will look at Jemison, of course, who's scoring goals at Burton now. Norrington Davis, who, despite not playing for United much, actually has got quite a lot of championship football under his belt, and whether they're going to be the ones that help take this team on in the years ahead. Do you reckon they can do it? They've got the opportunity to,
for sure. Nothing's going to be given. You've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be delivering in training. I think that's where players will get in the team from the training ground, and we must create a spirit that the Sheffield wants to see and the fans want to see. There must be that. You've got to deliver that side before you can be considered. But there's some real good youngsters and really talented players, and having seen them work for the last few years, they do deliver that stuff, because that was the ethos of the academy. The outrun, outfight, outplay, in that order. There's no grey area on that. So the lads coming through, and the strong mentalities, and fit and aggressive and winners, and the lads succeed in the academy are the best trainers. And we've had a training session today with the first team. It was great. It was really competitive, and you could start to hear it, and you're thinking that this is interesting, and that's the standard every day. You've got to be better every day.
What in the short term changed between, say, the Reading game and the match the other day against Bristol City in terms of style, tempo and mood?
I don't know. Well, we're very clear on what we need, what it looks like and what we want. Having played here and knowing the city inside out. You know what's not accepted, and also what's exciting. You know, it's got to be fast. It's got to be exciting. It's got to be fearless. You're going to make mistakes. That's all right. It's reaction to the mistakes. How determined you are in that tackle. How determined you are in that race. And then the team set up. You can be a really organised team, and I've played for some really good coaches. But if that team's not at it, it doesn't win. So you got to be both. You got to be really organised. You got to have good coaches around it who can teach the game. But you got to be at it, and that's what Sheffield United is when I've seen it at its best. And I've seen it several times, and I've seen it in other times. But when that team's at it, the fans come alive. Bramall Lane becomes a very hard place to play, because I've been on the back of that in a playoff game with Forest, and there's a few big tackles United, and you just sensed the fans got involved and the game was gone. And it was a tough one to take that night, but I've also been there as a player when everybody's at it and the fans will take you through it. And in the end, there's got to be togetherness with what's on the pitch and what's in the stands, because it's such a powerful ally, you know. And to get that ally on side, you've got to deliver what they want.